Hello Leo, great to see you. This is your Leo December 2020 reading, and it's particularly good to see the subscribers back again. Incidentally, there's going to be a 2021 annual reading published on the day before Thanksgiving in the afternoon, US Eastern Time, if you're interested in having a look at that. So depending on when you see this, it will be up. Now, I'm going to draw 5 cards. By the way, if you would like to have a personal clairvoyant reading with me, then all you need to do is check out the information that's in the description box below. But now let's take 5 cards and see what is in store for you, Leo. December 2020, the 9 of Cups, the 10 of Cups. Gee, that's interesting. You don't very often see that at all, do you? The 8 of Cups. You have the 8, 9, and 10 of Cups, Leo, for December 21, the Cosmos. Starting to get the energy building up already. Oh, I think this is going to be a very interesting time for you, I must say. Now, and there it is, the server of discs coming through there. Right, let's have a look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Next month's reading will be published on the 9th of December at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. Wow, you've got the 8, 9, and 10 of Cups, major arcana, being the Cosmos and the server of discs. This needs to be spoken of. So what does it have to say? Now, the first thing I will say is this, is that it is Saturn ruling the first decan of Pisces. There's almost like an abandoned success going on here, but things come along really well. Saturn in Pisces. Well, Saturn is very often about structure, organizations, discipline, and can have heavy energy and responsibility attached to it, whereas Pisces is intuitive, spiritual, involved in fantasy, and very emotional. And we have, with this number 8 here, for me, I have a mystical association with the planet of Mercury. So I think what's happening is that Saturn is coming along and deadening the waters of Pisces completely. Saturn dominates and suffocates the joy of Pisces. And there is the flightiness of Mercury present as well in the numerology of the card, so the overall influence resembles dark Saturn with no growth. Now the other thing is that Mercury is in detriment in Pisces, and so we have some conflict here as well. But what does this mean? Well, in this position, with these other cards around it, I really think that this is about, for you, actually getting over-involved in doing. Your experience of being can get lost when you put too much emphasis on doing, whether in work, hobbies, activities, or achievement. Instead of being a human being, you become a human doing. Well, the pattern can begin early when, as children, we feel that the only thing that brings attention or is praised is what we can do. The message that our value is related to accomplishment gets deeply embedded in our consciousness. And this can lead to taking on a sort of a mental strategy, I think, which we might call industrious over-focused, which is well characterized by working very hard and resisting distractions. Now, under stress, people with this pattern work even harder. They feel great pressure to perform and to make things perfect. They stick like glue to a task when what is needed is to be able to leave the task and regenerate. For without this regeneration, those who are over-focused can burn out. When you focus excessively on accomplishment, you are too busy to feel. This may be one motivation that keeps that strategy of industrious over-focused going. If you are a compulsive doer, you may be afraid of feeling empty inside or feeling emotional discomfort. The busyness keeps you from noticing how disconnected you are from yourself, from spirit, And from others, it can be a lonely existence, avoided by frantic activity and focused work. Of course, this emphasis on accomplishment and staying busy are totally reinforced in our industrial cultures. In many companies, employees are expected routinely to put in more than 40 hours a week and often taking work home. Even school children are weighed down with classroom assignments and extracurricular activities, and as a culture, we have gone so far into doing that we seriously neglect being. The result is, well, this does result, I think, in a mechanical nature that is really, I think, portrayed here in the painting. Because here is a man who, I guess, feels like a cog in a wheel with a very lonely inner child. So it's a good time for you to look at your relationship with doing. Remember to include not just paid work, but other activities as well. Some people become compulsive about housekeeping or gardening, where there is always more that can be done. It is not that these activities are bad. The question is how you're using them. Do you get nervous if you suddenly have some free time on your hands? Are you afraid to stop and feel? Do you use activity to cover up a sense of emptiness or disconnection? So I think the energy here, the message is on underlying motivations and your relationship with being. If you sense that doing is disconnecting you from being, it is time to stop and tune in again. But all is not lost, because you have here probably one of the best cards that you can draw, and it is the Nine of Cups. Let's have a look at the Nine of Cups, shall we? I call the Lord of Perfected Success, and they call mental detour. What is mental detour, I wonder? What is a mental detour? Well, let's see what the picture is telling me. Well, here in the painting, a woman stands alone. She is looking off in the distance, caught in her thoughts, unaware of the energy in her body, which is cut off at the neck. Although emotions are churning within, she doesn't let herself feel them. Those who intellectualize can sometimes talk a good game, even being quite articulate about emotions. They just don't feel them. When relying heavily on this strategy, they can become like a talking head, cut off not just from emotions, but from the rest of the body. The intellect becomes the only organ of perception, as it were. Now again, this is supported by the society that we live in, which is industrial and high technology, and it tends to have probably an over-respect for people of high intellect. And here, over-intellectualizing, the mind is used as a shield, as something to hide behind. It gives a false sense of power and control. To use thinking to escape feeling is usually not a conscious choice, but rather a learned defense that is often, again, the product of childhood environment where feelings were not honored. Your parents may have been cut off from their feelings, or feelings were expressed only in destructive ways. And as a child, you may even have been shamed for having feelings, or your sensitivity may have been exploited. And since males are granted even less permission to show feelings than females, this is a strategy, I guess, that is probably more common in men. But here, this is actually great luck and happiness around you, the Lord of material happiness. It is Jupiter ruling the second decan of Pisces. Jupiter in classical astrology rules Pisces, so there's very strong complementary energy here. And Jupiter's philosophical approach aligns well with Pisces spirituality. Jupiter also brings good luck and happiness. Jupiter's softer concerns, such as care, compassion, and the spiritual life, are beautifully expressed through sensitive Pisces. There is an enormous capacity to love at this time, although, as is so often the case with this gift, this is often hard won through lots of difficult times in the past. But I see here, and it's followed by this 10, with your wishes being granted, abundance and rewards for your efforts. This is speaking of a great future for you here. You have the fulfillment of the goals of love, overflowing love, deep joy, blessings heaped upon you. This moment is filled with harmony and inner joy, so open yourself to it totally and ask yourself, where do you seek and where do you find your true happiness? Breathe and feel. If you are alone, enjoy your solitude. If you are together with others, enjoy their presence. If you have a job to do, do it in silent devotion. And say this to yourself, because it definitely is true for you at this period. Happiness is my natural condition. Well, seeing as we're on cups, let's have a look at this. Here we go. Now, in this painting, here it is, let's put it there so you can see it in the center. A woman looks to me to be floating in the ocean with a dolphin nearby. She seems very much at home in the watery environment of the emotional and spiritual realms. The woman is not afraid to get wet and feels free in the undulating nature of her emotional body. Her flowing nature is mirrored by the dolphin, which represents a kind of right brain intelligence. Dolphins, of course, are very playful animals that emit healing energy. Now this seashell-shaped spiral that's here, I think that represents unfoldment. Now together, all of these aspects portray a feeling of comfort, contentment, and mastery in the watery worlds of emotion and intuition, as well as with the dynamic flow inherent in this territory. Now we have Pisces here as well in this card, and this time we have Mars ruling Pisces. Now Mars can be disruptive, and it can conflict with the peaceful Pisces. But I'm thinking that there is a great degree of emotional stability around here. A happy family unit, getting together with friends and family, dreams becoming a reality, possibly even somebody moving to their dream home. What's also the case with this is, I think, that there's a real sense of fullness associated with this, with the emotions. And what I mean by that is that we're in the suit of cups. So if you imagine a bucket holding water, which is the suit, and it's full, the bucket is full. If you were to pour more water into the bucket, it wouldn't add to anything. It would just trail over the sides of the bucket and be lost into the earth. So what this is asking you to do is to consider how you do get more enjoyment. It's not that you are not happy now. You do have a fullness, a great emotional fullness at this time. But if you want to consider how you develop that further, then you need to reconfigure, reinvigorate, reignite a relationship so as to make the bucket bigger, as it were, and that will allow you to have increased emotional satisfaction. But clearly a very emotionally fulfilling time for you this December. How extraordinary. 8, 9, and 10 of Cups. I want to look at this major arcana, don't you? And see what it has to say. What an unusual picture. Let's have a look at it. And they call it the cosmos. I talk about the multi-dimensional universe. Well, that's all very interesting. And what do I see here? Well, two people come together with the Earth and other life forms to celebrate the ascension of consciousness. The top half of the picture is a mandala, a form found in many cultures, particularly Tibetan Buddhism uses mandalas, which are like geometric shapes that are used to focus on, to look at while going into prayer or meditation. The general shape of mandalas usually is that of a circle, and they're often used to represent spiritual harmony or personal wholeness. Now, this particular mandala contains symbols from the world's various wisdom traditions, representing an inclusiveness and wholeness in terms of spiritual expression, as well as a temporal wholeness. Past and present become one, just as the various faith communities are one. Now, in the picture, the flame of spiritual aspiration rises up and is met by an offer of help from angels, guides, and ascended masters. The new life that follows is represented by the image of the baby, I think. Old and new come together in a moment which is outside of time. There's a real sense for me that this is a period of you burning off karma from previous thoughts, actions, deeds, or omissions. It's about cosmic union. Almost travel is something that I see here as well, interestingly. It's talking about the completion of a project and that your efforts are finally paying off. It has been a long haul, I think, for you, hasn't it? But it's the case that you're almost there. And it's a reminder to finish what you started. I think you're learning to take control of your destiny now. The power of your will is being used by you, that fantastic Leo will, to get results. May even be reaching new levels of spiritual understanding. I think you'll be simultaneously gifted in starting the new while completing the old, and you'll be able to bring change into institutions or strongly structured environments. You may find that you are quite ecologically minded, and you'll have a desire to experience as much of the world and its people as possible. Yeah, there's now something ending and beginning at the same time. I think it is now possible for you to see things as they really are. The stage is set for a new beginning or favorable completion. The events in your life are in harmony with the universe. You may ask yourself this: from what aspects of your life is it time to free yourself? Is there a journey or an enterprise waiting for you to set in motion? Trust your perceptions and make a list of all unfinished situations whose resolution would give you a sense of release. And say this to yourself: I love to travel. I love to explore the unknown. I am excited about bringing ideas and creative projects into form. I deeply value making a contribution that makes the world around me and the people around me a better place to live and happier and better people. I am at one with the universe. And we go finally to this server of discs. Gee, I'm getting a lot of Taurus around here, a lot of Cancer, a lot of Aries. I'm sure they might be important to you during this period. Very much those people around. Well, the server of discs. Well, the server portrays helping others in everyday ways. When you apply this to the suit of discs, you ask, what helps you in your everyday life? One answer is loyal friends, people who really show up for you and whom you can count on. I'm looking at the dogs here. Well, dogs can be considered as friends. They're loyal friends who are there when we need them, and depicted in the picture, they accompany us on our journeys, don't they? The server of discs here, this energy is about helping in practical ways. It is feeding friends' pets when they are out of town, bringing food when they are sick, helping them pack to move. It's staying to do the dishes after a big dinner or party. Although we are focusing on the context of friendship when we consider these things here, you can perform these small acts of service anytime, letting someone into a line of traffic, holding a door open, helping at the scene of an accident or someone's distress. They're all the expressions which come up from the energy in this card, I think, in the position that it's in with the Ten of Cups above it. Now, the satisfaction you may accrue in helping in these ways depends on your motivations for giving and your feelings about the exchange. If you're giving or helping when you don't really want to, then there'll be resentment and an inner withholding that robs both you and the recipient of pleasure. The same is true even if you're giving in order to obligate the other person or to gain power in the relationship. If there are strings attached, then clearly you're not giving freely, and the spirit of generosity is absent. But this card in this position here, I think, signifies a bond of true friendship, or an invitation to show up as a true friend, or cultivate the qualities of a friend. And since this energy here relates to being helpful in practical ways, it's a good time to examine your experience with this. Do you tend to be generous in offering your help to others? Do you help only when it is something that you like to do or are good at? Do you only give what is needed or asked for? Are you keeping a sort of a score inside, measuring who has given more in a particular friendship? Working with contractions around giving can help open the space to give more generously and fully. There's an awful amount of, well, when I say awful, there's a great deal of fertility associated with this card, and that of renewal. It's fertility and bringing forth the birth of ideas, the creation of projects. You may even hear of a physical pregnancy or a rebirth around you at this time. I'll let you in on a secret. This energy here is almost like the reincarnation of energy back into all of the court cards. This server of discs takes the divine energy, sends it back into the server of wands, and then it goes down through the suits of wands, cups, swords, and into discs. This is a particularly fertile and beautiful time for you, one which is mirrored by the great emotional fulfillment that you have here, and the completion of things and great new things to do. Well done. Good job, Leo. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, I thought that was going to be good, and it was. I hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I did providing it to you. Now, don't forget, make sure you check out your 2021 annual reading. If you're a subscriber, of course, it's delivered into your subscription box, or just have a look at the playlist that's on the channel. It's being published the day before Thanksgiving in the afternoon, US Eastern Time. But look, remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.